Hi guys, right, great. So this is, I think I'm going to try and do these in batches of 10. So this is question 1 to 10. I'm using a sort of e-soft copy that I can't quite write on, so I'll always revert to a PowerPoint if I need to write. So yeah, let's question 1 to 10. This is, all of this, if you like, is very much around the chapter 2 and chapter 3 area of the text. I don't know how many questions carry on like that, but this is all chapter 2 and 3, which you must have read up, please, before attempting these questions. Okay, great. So let's start. What we have. Whoops. Sorry, where did that go? Here we are. Okay, great. So, which of the following? Let's look at which of the following statements regarding planning and control are described by the 3 tiers of the Robert Anthony's decision-making hierarchy. So again, I mean, my whole aim again is to maybe drop in a bit of theory as we're doing this. The Anthony triangle very much looks at this 3-layer thing called the strategic, the tactical, and the operational. And again, this is very much for your sort of CEOs, decision makers, long term. This is your kind of 12-month middle management focusing on internal reports in greater detail, if you like, in order to be able to make, say, divisional decisions or decisions within the organization. And this is your day-to-day transactions. So the focus really on the strategic is very much about the future. Think Ansoff, think the Ansoff strategy of diversification or going into new markets or taking the same product further into that particular market or into other markets, or different products in different markets, that sort of thing. So that's where we're going with that. And think of this as sort of credit policy, if you like, and building relationships with new suppliers and establishing a credit relationship management system, that sort of thing. Okay, great stuff. So let's go back to the question. Let's go back to the question and see where we are. But hopefully I won't spend too much time on each of these so that they're short and quick, so to speak. So strategic planning is concerned with decisions about the efficient and effective use of existing resources. This is true in itself, but let's see where the little nuance is. Operational control is about ensuring that specific tasks are carried out efficiently. So you can see that operational is very much about tasks. Really, the argument is, again, how does one do this without ending up teaching? You can see that the information flows downwards. So this is very much about tasks and doing. And this is almost about vision, if you like, and setting aims and objectives. Right, okay, right. Let's go back here. So what we have here, operational control is about ensuring that specific tasks are carried out efficiently and effectively. That's correct. So it's not that this isn't true. It's just that the strategic is also very much about future, if you like, future resources. So, which is why these questions are good to do, because on the face of it, there's nothing particularly wrong with this statement. It's just not complete. So therefore, 1 is not correct and 2 is correct, which gives us B. So 1 becomes B, right? So the answer to 1 is B. I should have a completely separate slide where I sort of write answers. Let's just do that here. We'll just do question 1, B. Okay, right, we'll come out of that. Okay, Let's go to number 2. Long-term sale forecasts are example of accounting information used at which level of control. So you can see here where, like I say, we're looking at the long term of this organization. We're looking into the future. There's technically no such thing as management control. It's very much from that Anthony triangle that we just saw that we had the strategic, the tactical, and the operational. Like I said, the tactical tends to look at a 12-month thing, operational day-to-day. So the strategic is probably the most suited here, if you like, for this. So question 2 becomes A. Okay, great. That was shorter. It was nice and short. Let's go on to question 3. Now, again, like I said, you should have read the different chapter 2 and 3 before attempting this. Which of the following is not normally considered to be a feature of big data? So for big data, we're really talking about where we are today, if you like, in this new age of information, of data information. So we have volume, it's large, velocity, how quick it's coming, the differences, variety, and the fourth one I believe is veracity. So there's no such thing as vicinity when referring to big data. And when you look at this, when you study this, so the answer is, the answer is D. D is not one of the things we consider. We do not consider, there's no such thing, if you like, no such thing as veracity. Right? No such thing as veracity as far as our, no such thing as vicinity, as far as our data is concerned. Okay, right. Question 4 says which two of the following statements regarding big data are true? It is more reliable than other sources of data. This is a bit of an assumption. Big data is just data that's coming through, if you like, primarily from not just the extranet, all the information happening around us. We have social media, we have data from our clients, their sales, almost external to us. But we have other sources of data as well, historical data, things like that have been kept for a while, so we can't say it's more reliable. It's fuzzy sometimes, isn't it, big data? It can change very quickly. We see this as true. It takes on multiple forms. We see this as true. It involves dealing with large financial numbers. It's not exclusive to that. So typically our answers are the middle two. It can change very quickly and it can take multiple forms. So the second and the third answer are correct over here. Right. Let's see what we're doing next. We then have, if you like, is question 5. This is an interesting one. I think you just have to be careful with it, and I think having good understanding, having read chapter 3, it should have been just about okay. So where are we? So information systems, right? So information systems are just systems that pull together purchasing and sales and customer relationship management systems, if you like, an inventory, all into, so like your SAP systems, your Oracle systems, all these different modules, bringing all this information together, if you like, to be able to allow typically middle management make decisions, typically, if you like, into almost in real time, if you like. A management information systems described below may or may not be suited to all levels of management. So again, this idea of levels of management: strategic, middle management, and the operational. And MIS, management information system, so SAP, Oracle, whatever it is, producing management accounting, showing margins for individual customers. Well, that's good. We need all of that. Typically, that's needed, if you like, at all levels of management. That's something everyone would like to know, and everyone. The truth is, everyone has access now. Most people should have access to this, to management information systems. If you like, you want to know where inventory is, you want to know where how long it'll take for inventory to arrive. All levels of information should have, all levels of management should have that type of information. An expert system holding specialist tax information. So an ES system. So typically these are very clever systems that can almost simulate human beings. They can carry out what if you like, well, not what if scenarios. They can actually calculate the big databases you can extract. You can plug in your numbers and they'll tell you what this picture should be. So typically everyone can have access to this. It's almost like a big, large database or diary sort of thing. And EIS information. So this is typically, you see here, executive information. Typically information that looks at the future, or the strategic assets and strategic information and the strategic contacts, if you like. And typically this is very expensive, and typically we're looking at the future and future direction, and it's rare that you want everyone to have access to this information. Yes, it's summarized and you want to be able to drill down, but you don't want this. It isn't suited to all levels of management. Typically, I would argue that directors and your upper echelons of management should have this data. So what we should have here is suitable, not suitable. Yes. So question 5, suitable, not suitable, right? Just because of that. Okay. Right, let's go over here again. Let's move on quickly. So an ERP system, like what I was just talking about, like an SAP system, an Oracle system, typically is think of just keeping all the records in one big space, and it's all connected. all connected. So definitely we can see everything happening in real time. So schedules of labor for manufacturing, inventory records are updated normally, automatically. Again, like I was talking about, in real time, sales records, everything, all our recording is taking place here. Here is this critical strategic information can be summarized. So like I said here, our executive information systems tend to do things like this. This question of critical strategic information and critical strategic analysis happens more at the executive information system. Here we have if you like it, an enterprise resource planning system is a management information system. So when it comes to strategic information, you typically won't find it here in an ERP system. I mean, that's what I'm saying today. There are probably specialized modules that managers can then add on to that, given that it's all one system. But typically, we would relegate this out or keep these three for, if you like, the ERP system. This was their fundamental source responsibility. This is what they fundamentally do, the first three. So the answer here is D. 6 critical strategic information can be summarized. That isn't typically one of the things you're going to get out of that. So I'll just carry on here and just write question 6. Question 6 here will be D. Let's look at question 7. Right, here we go. An example of an expert system. So I said an expert system is almost like a big database that helps you solve problems. It's actually quite active. It's an intelligent system. So naturally, just looking at these three, customer relationship management, database, these are storage systems almost. It's just a network. But here we have a tax system that solves problems. So again, like I said, almost the principle. Think of simulating humans. So the answer here, 7 is D. Yes, 7 is D. And question 8. Again, I'm cautious about trying to make sure these are short so that we can do them in that sort of same sort of space. Right, you've been presented with a summary report of sales in the last month. Again, this is a great information system. It's into the management information system. Like I was saying, you're able to see all these reports. It's almost internal. Think of management information systems as very much an internal thing. They're looking at they're almost historical, looking at what's happening in the past. So typically, you expect a management information system to do this. A transaction processing system is typically what we find at the operational level. It's just trapping and collecting data. But here we're able to do some analysis and compare monthly reports again. So definitely the answer here is B. 8 is B. 8 is B. Question 9, question 10. Let me just put that here. Right. Which of the following is true about big data? It can only be used for big organizations. That's not true. It is all contained on the internet. That's not true. It's all generated external to the organization. That's not true. That's not true. We're just thinking about information in general. Well, typically it is external, but it isn't always. It isn't always external. We're collecting data. It can be happening internal to the organization as well. And definitely, you just knowing and having this extra edge is what big data can do for you, give you that sort of competitive advantage. Jeff Bezos talks about wanting to know his clients better than their doctors know them, if you like. So what you can see there is that if you look on Amazon nowadays, you almost get offered things that line up with your interests based on what you have already bought, and then you tend to stick with that. So definitely, I would argue that it nicely leads to competitive advantage. That's the best one there. And then finally, question 10, which of the following could be described? This is another example of an expert system. So again, like what I was saying here, these are just systems, storage systems, marketing database, holding records. These are recorded, but this is a tax calc which predicts the level of tax payable in different scenarios. So what ifs, you can chuck in there, that sort of thing. So again, like I say, this is very similar to a question we did earlier on. Here, which one is it? Here we are, question 7 about a tax system that solves problems. Expert system, typically the same question actually. An expert system, so a tax calculator. So the answer here is D. as well. So 1 second, let's just write D. Great stuff. 14 minutes, 15 minutes. I hope to get these into 10 minutes so that they're short and snappy and you can go through them as quickly. Great stuff.